Okay, welcome to Synergy Coaching, and this is the inaugural video that Synergy is putting out. So we will muddle through it, and hopefully it'll turn out good. This is a little bit outside my wheelhouse, so we are going to work through some of this as we go. Content will be good. Video quality and so forth will get better as we post more and more videos going forward. What we want to talk about today is resolutions, and why resolutions probably not a great idea. We're coming up on the new year, and everybody wants to look at setting a nice groundwork for the coming year. So we tend to set resolutions, and most of the time we don't manage to keep them, and we fail in our efforts to achieve those goals. So I'm going to tell you to forget about resolutions in 2021, and let's focus on setting some goals. And I know it seems like that's the same thing, but it's really not. Resolutions are a little bit different in that we only set those once a year, and a couple of reasons why resolutions tend to fail is primarily because we set them once a year, and it's not really something that's of critical importance to us if it takes us that long to recognize that we need to do this, and if we put it off until the first of the year. So like I said, if they're truly important, why would we wait until January 1st to start? And I get coming off of the holidays, and especially people, weight loss is a huge goal that people set for the new year, and they want to get through the holiday season and eat what they want, and I surely get that. But I think other goals, financial goals, fitness goals, career goals, all of the different types of goals that we might set, I don't typically understand why we would wait until a random date. Best to just get started. That's typically the way that I look at it, and the way that I look at it with my clients is no reason to wait or put anything off. So that's one of the reasons that resolutions typically fail, and that's why I'm kind of promoting this idea of not focusing on resolutions, but setting some life-changing goals that we can actually get to work on. So anyway, let's move forward, and let's begin by talking about proper goal setting, and let's talk about types of goals, and we'll cover quite a bit in this video. So let's talk about proper goal setting and how it works better. There are all types of different goal setting platforms out there. There's an anagram for about any type of goal setting platform. I've seen SMART, I've seen Awesome, and I've seen multiples of other types. So anagrams tend to help people remember certain things, but what I want to cover is I want to outline just some basic things that are critical components, if you will, for successful goal setting. And when I say successful goal setting, I mean achieving the goals that we set. So let's talk about your goals primarily. So when we set goals, what criteria enter into your thought process? Too often our goals really aren't about what truly matters to us. We're shaped by everything that surrounds us. We've got influences, whether they be professional influences, whether they be friends, social influences, family, and sometimes when we set our goals, we may not really be setting goals that matter to us. And I think that is above all the most important thing. When we're setting our goals have to matter to us. They have to be goals that are meaningful and driven from within us. If they're not really going to be very easy to achieve because we're not committed to them. So always contemplate and figure out what is driving you to actually set this goal. Why do you want to accomplish this? And sometimes it's not about what you think. Most people equate happiness to being able to pay the bills at the end of each month and have a lot left over so that they can do some fun stuff. And they'll set career goals with nothing more than money in mind. And we'll chat a little bit more about that as the video goes on. But that may not be the best criteria. One of the things that we work with our clients at Synergy is how do we create the best possible life? And certainly financial matters tie into that, but it may not be the end all be all. There are some other things that matter as well. You have to have a good quality of life. You can't sacrifice your health and your family in the pursuit of the dollar. That may not be the optimal life for you. It might be. That's one of the things that we talk about. But at any rate, when you set your goals, just make sure that they're your goals and that they matter to you. They're things that matter to you. Also, your goals need to be ambitious. When you set your goals, make sure that they're probably stretch goals. Now we'll get into this. That's one of the slides that we'll cover as we get through the video. But they need to be reasonable so that you can accomplish them. But they need to be ambitious as well. We don't want to shortcut ourselves as we go through the year. I actually have a strategy that I'll share with you later on about that. And then finally, as we talk about goals, one of the most important things to remember is you don't have to be great to start, okay? But you do have to start to be great. So as we look at our goals and what we want to accomplish, we have to just dive in. We have to just get moving. So I think that's an important thing to always think about, regardless of what you're doing. You'll never get there if you don't start. So, goal setting, set your goals, but then be ready to move. Okay, just take them on. So when I look at proper goal setting, like I mentioned before, SMART goals, awesome goals, all of these different anagrams that people set up when they're looking at goal setting, and they're all really good. Once you dive into them, you find that they're all pretty similar, and I'm not going to be a whole lot different in what I look at as the important components of goal setting. So I have 6 primary attributes for a properly set goal. Number 1 is the type of goal. What type of goal do you want to set? We'll talk about that in the next slide, but you're looking at things like financial, health, different things like that. What type of goal? What type of goal do you want to set as you go forward? They have to be relevant. We talked about that just a minute ago. It has to matter to you. If it doesn't matter to you, you will not achieve it. They need to be ambitious, but they need to be attainable. Shouldn't be easy to attain by any stretch, but they certainly need to be attainable, because if they're not, you'll give up on them in the first month. And specific. Your goals really need to be specific. It's not enough to say, and I'll use weight loss a lot because it's such a popular one as we go through this video. But, when I say these things, it goes for any goal that we're looking to set. They have to be specific. It can't be, I want to lose 10 pounds, or 35 pounds in 2021, or I want to lose weight. It needs to be specific. And that leads to the next part, is that it actually needs to be measurable. So we have to be able to define it, which means specific, and we have to be able to measure it. just because if we don't measure it, we can't have success with it. That's just an axiom that I've seen that holds true, through all of my years in sports and business, and with all the different clients that I work with. And measurement strategies is a really big part of what I do with Synergy Business Strategies. So, and finally, it needs to be time driven. Just like anything, a race has to have a finish line. A game has to have the final whistle. Yeah, it has to have a finish line, because if it doesn't have that, you can't just work on it in perpetuity and think that you're going to reach that goal. You're more driven when you have like a timeline. So at this point, we're probably 11 minutes in, and I'm going to start getting into some specifics. This is kind of a new thing we're doing. We're jumping into the YouTube thing. If you like what you're hearing so far, please hit the like button and kind of help us get off to a good start. And we'll move on to different types of goals, which is the next slide. So, I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan. As we go through and as I create more content and more videos, I think that, the type of person you are needs to come through in these videos. I'm a Dave Ramsey guy. I mean, my wife and I don't carry debt. I love that guy. So I listen to Dave Ramsey a lot. And he's a platform that I use in terms of some of his ideas and how he approaches finances when I have my clients. I don't use his method, obviously, because that's proprietary, but, I do believe in living a debt-free life. So, and there are some things that I disagree with Dave on, and some of it is like when he talks about his types of goals. He's got 7 that he believes that you should have one of each of these, and I'll get to why I disagree with that part of it here in just a few minutes. But his 7 types of goals, which I'm going to utilize, are career. What would you like to see different in your career for 2021? Do you have career goals? What's your long-term strategy for what you do? And how you're going to get there is the most important thing. But career is an important goal. Financial, of course, Dave Ramsey's going to have financial goals, and I think everybody probably ought to have financial goals. I don't think any of us are where we want to be financially. Even if we're in a great place, we can be in a better place. So, I do believe that financial is probably a pretty important type of goal to look at. Spiritual, spirituality is important, and a lot of what we work with at Synergy is, like the name of our company is Synergy Strategies. And Synergy Coaching. And Synergy is, to me, and the reason that I named the company Synergy is it's critically important to have balance in all things within your life in order for you to achieve an optimal, healthy life and to be your best self. Spirituality is important in that. And I'm not saying what you have to believe in, but you have to believe in something. And it has to be something that's bigger than you, that you can have faith in. So, so what are your spiritual goals for 2021? Intellectual is another type of goal. And when we talk about intellectual goals, what are you going to do to grow intellectually? Well, what are you going to do to sharpen your saw, as it were, in 2021? And physical goals, another type of goal. Everybody looks at a physical goal, because it's odd that we're never satisfied with who we are in terms of our physical being. Yeah, and I think that we all know that we can be better. And honestly, that's a huge part of what we do. Um, with Synergy, I grew up an athlete. I continue to try and be an athlete even into my mid 50s. I'm a cyclist and a triathlete. I played soccer with an adult league that traveled up until about probably 6 years ago. But you know, throughout my entire life, I've had some sort of athletic endeavor that I was working on, and the physical part of my life is a big part of who I am. So I totally get that, and that's a big part of what we do to help our clients. Now, we may not be getting all of them to, become a triathlete. Maybe it's they want to get their BMI at a healthy level, because, like I was telling you, we focus on quality of life, and if you don't have good health and good fitness and wellness, it's really hard to have a good quality of life, and anybody can get that. So physical is a big goal that most people set each year. Family, we all have family. Some it shrinks and grows. It's funny because I'm in my mid 50s, and my family's shrinking. My parents have passed away. My son is not old enough to have his family, so I'm in that condensing phase before it starts expanding again. So what do I do to with family? I've got brothers, and they both live in Knoxville with me, and I don't spend enough time with them. So one of my goals for 2021 is to make sure that I spend some time with family. It's critically important. And then finally, social. Are you engaging enough outside of your family and work? We all have to have a social aspect of our life. But what do you want to do, or what might you want to do to improve the social side of your life? So anyway, so that's those are 7 types of goals, and like I had mentioned, Dave Ramsey says you should have one goal in each of those categories. I'll push back a little bit on that thought process because I don't believe that's true. I think you should probably pick about 4 at a max, because studies have shown that there's a law of diminishing returns on achieving goals or implementing new things in your life once you get past 4. 4 is kind of like a maximum number, and 7 is probably just too much. It just takes away from the focus on those 4 things. So that being said, 4 is a good number. It keeps you focused, and that's typically what I believe in. So let's kind of dive in and talk about goals a little bit. We just covered type. Now we're going to look at relevance. So when we talk about relevance, is it relevant to you? I mean, that sounds really simple, right? Is it a goal that matters to you? And like we talked about a little bit earlier, what we find is the reality on this particular topic is that, maybe it's not relevant to you. You need to do a little bit of soul searching and find out and think through and meditate on whether it truly is important to you. Because like we talked about, you've got all of these external forces that kind of feed into what we tend to think we might want next year to be, or what our 5-year plan to be, or down the road. And sometimes it's not us. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. I think it's just critical that you come to terms with that and understand that maybe it is, maybe it's not. So anyway, I'll give you an example of that. My wife works for a great company, and she has been in her current role for many years. She's been with that company for 20 years plus, and she's been in the role that she's in right now for, I think, 10 or 11. So, every year, when she comes up on her annual review, they are like, "Are you ready for the next level?" And there's a part of her that thinks, "Yes, it's the next level. That's exactly where I want to be." That's because we all want to drive forward. It's kind of the nature of who we are, is to push forward. But when she and I sit down and actually talk about her taking that next step, it requires sacrifice. She's a cyclist as well. And right now she gets to work from home half the time. And then of course this year with COVID, she's obviously working from home all the time. But she gets to work from home, and it makes it so convenient to work from home. And when her work day is done, she gets to just get on the bike and go ride. And if she took a higher level position, she'd have to work from corporate office all the time. And it would really impact some of the things that bring her a lot of joy in her life. And there's monetary gain with it. But it, for us, we're blessed. We're fortunate enough to where, she doesn't need to. We don't need extra money. So she always thinks about it and then makes the right choice of not taking that next step. So that's an example of what I was talking about. Is make sure your goals are what they really need to be for you. And the reason for that is, if you set these goals and you don't feel it inside, it's really difficult to accomplish goals. And so I'm going to back up quite a bit. I should have said this at the front end. Don't set a goal if you're not going to really dive in and accomplish that goal. Okay? That's the whole essence of what we need to do. There's no sense in setting a goal that you don't have this burning desire to accomplish. And, you have to have sound reason for wanting to accomplish it. So that's the important part of relevance, and why it's important that your goals are relevant. And they're relevant to you, not to me, not to your peers, not to your family. They need to be relevant to you. And you have to have good sound reason for setting that goal. The next one is ambitious but attainable. And, it might be the trickiest part of goal setting. What's too much? What's not enough? How do I know what I can attain over the course of a year? I don't want to get to a point that I'm not attaining the goal that I set. What we coach, with our clients is, better every day. Okay, be better tomorrow than you are today, and taking those steps will surely get you along that pathway. But I have a method that I utilize that kind of help with this particular situation. For my business clients, I typically have them set 3 levels of goals. The first level is budget. When I say budget, it's like most of the time we're talking about performance standards. We're talking about some level of performance within the company or business that they're working with. So budget is like the goal you have to hit. I mean, you have to hit budget. In other things, it could be some minimal level of expectation. Okay, so that's like your basic goal. You can set that out as a goal, but you need to make sure that you crush that goal every year. So budget's going to be like that ground level goal, and then your next goal is going to be kind of like stretch goal. Okay, so this is a goal that, you know, I've got to get my guys working hard. I got to get my teams in order so that I can hit this stretch goal. You know, whether it be, you know, a 10% increase in sales. All right. And, you know, how do I get there? And we'll talk about how we get there here in just a few minutes. But that's your stretch goal. So that's like level 2 goal. All right. And that's probably your real goal. That's probably the goal that you absolutely want to make sure that you hit. Like I said, you know, budget is a minimal expectation. But you have to have that, you know, because that's kind of like your benchmark. That's your base point when we're talking about that. And then finally, you need to have a wild and crazy goal. Okay, so let's just say that, and we set our goal, and you know, all the stars align. I get my team firing on all cylinders, and you know, finally, we just crush past, you know, what our stretch goal is. That wild and crazy goal is kind of the one that we build our model to. It also helps us ensure that we get to our stretch goal. So that's like the 3 levels that I would use for like a business client when it comes to looking at, you know, strategic thinking for the coming year. Personal goals. You know, when you set your personal goals, you don't want to deal with minimum expectations. You probably want to make sure that you're focused on at least your stretch goal. Make sure it's attainable, but make it a stretch goal, okay? And then also set a wild and crazy goal. There's nothing in the world wrong with striving for more. As a matter of fact, that's a positive thing to do. So, like for personal goals, I would focus on a stretch and a wild and crazy goal. And then finally, you know, it's important to be honest with yourself when setting any goal. You know, like I'll give you an example. You know, I am a triathlete at heart. I'm a cyclist, but you know, 6 years ago I had a knee injury. One of the reasons I gave up playing soccer, and I haven't been able to run for, you know, years. I have like a meniscus issue, and I have a goal this year to get back into triathlon. So it would not be reasonable for me to, and I'm not being honest with myself, if I believe that I can get back to do an Ironman this year. Just not going to happen. So I need to be honest with myself, and you know what I've done is I've decided that I'm going to do 2 Olympic distance triathlons early, and then I'm going to do a half Ironman by season end. You know, those are attainable. I'm not sure that I'll, you know, win my age group or anything like that this year, but I can certainly accomplish those goals, and it'll be a good goal for me. So, like I said, just be honest with yourself, and don't think that you can accomplish the world in a year. We can certainly strive for that, but we need to set attainable goals. Specific, guys, this speaks for itself, right? You know, I'll use, like I talked about before, let's just use weight loss. I mean, that's like the number one goal that people set when they come up on the new year. So if we look at specific, you know, like I'm going to lose weight in 2021. Okay, great. You know, if you don't have like a specific number in mind and even a specific reason for doing this, I can promise you that goal is going to be gone by, you know, 6 weeks into the year, because it's not focused. You don't have, there's no focus to it. So, you know, why is losing weight important to you? Is it just that you want to look better? Okay, that's fine. You know, maybe you have some health reasons for that. You know, maybe you've been to the doctor. You know, as we get older, we go to our annual physicals, and the doc will tell you, well, you know what, you might want to lose some weight, okay, that's good. So a lot of my clients have been, pre-diabetic. They've gone through their lives, and adult life is really hard on the body because we haven't been smart enough to really kind of mesh my health and wellness in with my career. So the doc says you got to get your BMI down. Okay. Well, so that's really a target, right? That's specific. And, depending upon what the BMI scale says, you're sitting at, let's just say you're 5'10" and you're sitting at 205 pounds. Well, you probably, and I don't have the BMI scale in front of me, but you probably need to lose 35 pounds in order to get to a BMI that's healthy. So that's specific. All right. So now you can look at, all right, I need to lose 35 pounds so that my BMI can get down to a 23. That's a specific goal. And you can set that type of specificity with any goal, that you're looking at, whether it's a career goal. Definitely with financial goals, those are pretty easy to set, and then once we get to measurement strategies, those become really easy to do. Maybe not totally easy to attain, but certainly easy to measure, and then you can focus on that. Which brings us to the next thing. Once you have your specific goal, you definitely want to measure it. There's an old adage that, if you don't measure it, you're not going to have success with it. I find this to be true. I have found it to be true in working with teams that I've worked with, whether they be athletic, professional athletes that I've worked with, different people that I've worked with over the years. There's a strategy that ties to success, and measurement strategy is critical to all of it. There are great teams out there in the world that aren't filled with great players, and you can look to whether you love them or hate them. I grew up a Dolphins fan, so I don't love them, but the New England Patriots, they're the sum of all their parts is greater than the individuals all the time, and it's because of the way they go about their business and they measure everything that they do. So as we talk about measurement and measurement strategies, that kind of helps you drill down into, what am I measuring? All right, I'm measuring 35 pounds. Well, that's your lag measure. So if you focus on the lagging measure, which is the measure that comes after, okay, because that's your end result. That's why it's called a lag measure. When you're focused on that, you're really missing out on the drivers, okay, the things that kind of lead you to the success of reaching that goal. So when I work with my clients, we focus on leading measures. Those are the measures that kind of help you achieve success. So sticking with the weight loss, and again, you can utilize this strategy for anything. Your leading measures are what? Calories in, calories out. I mean, that's simplified. Okay, there's a lot more that goes into weight loss. I get that. And when we work with you as a client, we certainly work with some other things alongside it. But, really simply, it's calories in, calories out each day. So that's what I would measure. So when we set up our measurement strategy, that's what we look at. We look at calories in, calories out. So, you can set a base metabolic rate and know about what your caloric expenditure each day is, based upon just doing no exercise. And then you can also understand, learn, and know how many calories you're burning with with exercise. I use my Garmin. Okay, I've got a Garmin Fenix, and it keeps me pretty in tune with how many calories I'm burning with, whether it be a run, a bike, or a swim, or whatever I do. I know how many calories I'm burning. I'm going to switch over and probably get a Whoop. It's a new thing that's kind of out that kind of helps measure these things as well. So what you burn throughout the course of the day, and then the extra calories that you burn through exercise, and then you measure how many calories you take in each day. I mean, that information is so readily available now. It used to not be, but you can always figure out how many calories you're taking in, or at least get really close. So, you'd have a goal each day to have fewer calories in and more calories out. And that's how you achieve your goal. So, and that's easy to put into a measurable format. I'm kind of a Excel wonk, but that's I build things on Excel, and I build those things for my clients as well. And finally, give it a finish line. Okay, I mean, it has to have an endpoint. So your goals have to have an endpoint. And a lot of times, another thing I don't like about resolutions is like your endpoint is throughout the course of the year. So in 2021, I'm going to lose 35 pounds. Well, that type of lengthy goal is hard to accomplish because, I hit the middle of January and my goal is I'm going to lose 35 pounds so that I can have a BMI of 23 by the end of 2021. Well, I love pizza. And so it's January 15th, or heck, even February 15th. And I have the opportunity to have some pizza. Well, I'm going to have that pizza because I don't need to worry about attaining that goal until the end of the year. So I've got tons of time. And we developed this mindset that I've got all this time to accomplish this goal, so I don't need to worry as much about it. Let's make it a little bit more critical to hit that goal. All right. And so I'd like to break those up. It's fine to have a long-term goal. Everybody should have long-term goals, whether it be, you should have a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, and a 10-year plan, for what you want to be. Okay. You should even have a plan for what you want to accomplish this year. But, those long-term goals need to be broken into incremental goals that, kind of light a fire underneath us so that we can hit those. We'll stick with the goal of losing weight, the goal of losing weight, 35 pounds. You probably want to break that down, maybe to 10 pounds per quarter, which, guys, that's probably healthy. These fast weight loss plans really typically aren't sustainable and they aren't healthy. And then once you lose all that weight, you tend to gain it right back. So when we talk about weight loss with our clients, and we talk about it with you, as part of our overall wellness of what we teach people, we want sustainable life changes. So if we're doing that, 10 pounds a quarter, 3.5 pounds a month is probably smart and healthy, and certainly attainable, and it keeps you on track for that long-term goal. So when you're breaking it down, you can have your finish line at the end of the year, but let's break it down into incremental goals that you can accomplish quickly, and that kind of keep you on track. Also, you need to understand, with any goal, there's ups and downs. and stagnant points, and you'll plateau, and don't get frustrated. That's just the way things go. You will accomplish those things if you stay focused, and that's it's just part of it. But don't stop moving. Like, your target needs to be, like I said before, you always want to be better tomorrow than you are today. And if you focus on just that type of a mindset, you're going to find that you're going to get to where you want to be. And like I said, we have like real strategies that we work with people on, whether it be business strategies, whether it be personal strategies. If you feel hung up in life about most anything, that's what we do as coaches, and that's what we are. We're coaches at Synergy, and we want to help you live the best life that you can. And regardless of how out of reach it may seem, it's really not. If you kind of break it down and just kind of get better incrementally every day. So anyway, so that's my feelings on goal setting, and on the whole idea of resolutions, and why I don't really like resolutions. And it really boils down to, if you feel like it's important enough, man, get rolling. Don't wait. Just get it started. So anyway, I certainly appreciate you guys spending the time today. If you've made it to the end of this, I certainly appreciate that. I would love for you just to, like I've mentioned before, but if you haven't done so, hit a like. I've got the YouTube channel up. We're just getting that started. But at some point, hopefully I've got enough content that you'll want to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try and have content weekly. And that's the goal, and I think we can attain that. So we'll have something new every week. Hopefully I'll get enough subscribers at some point that it makes sense for us to do live events, because I'm much better interactive than I am talking to a camera. So anyway, again, I appreciate it, and I hope all of you have a happy holidays. For me, it's Merry Christmas, but if it's Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, happy holidays to all of you folks, and thanks. Bye-bye.